I found the Schwinn Racer Deluxe in flamboyant red with a 2-speed kickback hub on Craigslist for a steal. Yes, the name of the color really is flamboyant red. I sent a link to a friend who lives closer to the location of the bike. It was just too far for me. The 2-speed hub was worth twice the asking price, and I knew it wouldn't last. He drove out to the location, paid the man, and brought it to me. Determining the model year is pretty easy for a number of reasons. We can narrow the model year range based on the chain guard and the front sprocket. 1965 was the first year for the Racer Deluxe, so this tells us the bike is a 1965 or later model. In 1969, Schwinn changed the design of the front sprocket from this clover style to this new mag style. This gives us a model year range from 1965 to 1968, assuming this is the original chain guard and sprocket. We can further narrow the model year range based on the rear hub. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the coveted Bendix automatic 2-speed hub, also known as the 2-speed kickback. 1966 was the last year Schwinn used these in the Racer Deluxe. So this limits the model year to either 1965 or 1966. The best way to determine the exact year of manufacture would be by the serial number. US-made bikes from 1955 to 1982 had the month and year of manufacture coded into the first 2 characters of the serial number. Serial number location also gives us a clue to when the bike was produced. In the 50s, they were generally on the bottom of the crank tube. In the 60s, they were on the left rear dropout as we see here. And in the 70s, they were on the bottom right side of the head tube. The first 2 characters here are C as in Charlie and A as in Alpha. The first character represents the month. We determine the month by counting through the alphabet, skipping the letters I and O. Schwinn did this to not confuse them with the numbers 1 and 0. In our case, the letter C gives us 3, which means the bike was manufactured in the month of March. The second character represents the year. In 1965, Schwinn changed from a single-digit numeric year to a single-digit alpha year. Similar to the month, we determine the year by counting through the alphabet, skipping the letters I and O, and add that number to 1964. In our case, A would be 1 plus 1964 would equal 1965. This gives us a manufacture date of March 1965. Now we know what we have, let's take a closer look and see what we've got. That doesn't even make any sense. The front wheel still has the safety locks on it. I don't remember ever seeing a bike with those still on it. Most people remove them because they are a hassle to deal with.
It's not safe.
The chrome fork count only came on the deluxe model for 1965 and later. All prior racers had them. The head badge doesn't have the Chicago printed on the bottom of it like this one. 1966 was the first year for the Chicago head badge. This has the early 60s black grips. 1966 and later deluxe models came with paint color matching grips similar to this. The paint on this bike is really worn. Here you can see the process Schwinn used to create the candy apple look. They first sprayed a red oxide primer. Next, they'd spray a bright silver color coat, you can see here. Then, they'd top it off with a color-tinted clear coat, giving it that deep candy apple look. This isn't the original seat. It's a cheap Chinese knockoff of the vintage Messinger Varsity seat. This bike would have come with a red and white two-tone Messinger mattress S seat.
Really?
This isn't the original seat clamp either. This bike would have come with a CAD-coated slotted carriage bolt and nut, like this.
Come on, LAX doesn't even have this much traffic.
It's missing the rear reflector.
As usual.
This bike doesn't ride very well, and I think I know why. If you look closely, you'll notice the rear wheel is set way back in the rear fender. This is causing the tire to rub on the rear fender brace. You can see here that the hub is set all the way back in the safety dropouts. These are all telltale signs of a stretched chain. The metal links don't stretch. These bushings right here wear, and that's what makes the chain longer. The longer distance between the links causes all the force to be on the last link connected to the crank. This force causes the chain to want to continue to creep up the crank. On a derailleur bike, this would cause chain suck. On this bike, it'll cause a clicking and creaking while pedaling. This chain is so bad, it's longer than my chain tool can measure. I'm using the Park Tool CC-2 chain checker. So, what's the plan? Similar to the 70 Racer and 66 Collegiate, we plan to do a full refresh. This should be significantly easier because there are no external brakes or shifters to deal with.
Jinx.
Normally, I'd replace the tires, tubes, and rim strips, but given the current difficulty in sourcing the 37-597 tires, we'll just replace the tubes and rim strips for now. The tires appear to be in fair shape, so we should be okay. We found the correct seat and reflector on eBay, as well as an aftermarket chain. We had an extra seat bolt lying around, so I think we're good in the parts arena. So, what's next? We start the teardown.
Well, that's all for now. And remember, it's only original once. Take care.